My mom sells drugs.
Oh, the cream everybody uses?
Yeah, it's the face
okay.
drugs.
The face drugs. She wants face drugs.
If you got pimples, come see my mom. Ooh.
Yeah.
How are you guys still friends?
So don't mess up.
I wonder sometimes.
I said, how are you guys still?
Over the nose.
Sometimes I feel like I'm really mean, and they're like, "It's okay." And I'm like,
Nah.
okay. I needed friends like this my whole life. Welcome to the Book Sluts.
You filthy animals.
I'm Maria.
I'm Jenny.
And I'm Angie. And we have a special guest today.
Oh, that's me. Juan.
And who's Juan?
He's my brother.
Unfortunately.
Oh, shut up. You guys love me.
Because we have to.
Oh, shut up. Whatever. I'll remember that next Dodger game.
It's all right. You sat on the other side anyways.
Whatever.
I was the part of the group anyways too.
You really were. Always.
Of the whole section. Cody, come back, Cody. Cody.
The book of the month is Death by a Billion Papercuts by... Oh.
I was like, it sounded wrong.
It's the same.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. It's the
They're
same
going to
but
look
different.
up the wrong book, though.
It's
Million, billion. Close enough.
$1 billion.
$1 billion.
oh my gosh.
I can't. This is why I don't get shit finished.
Sorry, guys.
And this time it's not me, Maria. It is not me.
It's Death by a Million Papercuts by Cillian Dunne.
Dune?
Dune, done.
I was
would've
gonna
gone
mess
Dunne.
up
I
either
would have
way.
said Dunne because Dune the movie.
I don't know.
I don't know.
We'll confirm later.
We'll ask him.
Cillian Dunne.
The book is based on a true story, and then the author interviewed the real life Lucy, the main character from the. Is that what it is? Was he?
Yeah. So what they were saying was that in 2016 there was a report that came out that 67 of the highest prestige
Boarding schools.
boarding schools in England had sexual assault cases active. Allegations. Sorry,
New
there we
England,
go.
right?
In New England, yes.
Yeah.
And he through that he was pointed in the direction of a lady who was the wife. So this is based on a true story. The names, so just the little things like that were different, but the story of it all was true. Like, it's factual.
I was reading some articles on it. I saw that none of those people, no criminal charges were
Ever
charged.
filed or
Yeah.
for ay.
There was one guy that was convicted, and I believe he was the student. I guess at those schools, the boys would have pretty much a competition whoever could sleep with the most underage girls.
Oh my
Oh, wow.
gosh.
Yeah.
Wow,
Or no, I
that
think
sounds like
rape,
cool
actually.
intentions.
Sexual assault, yeah. Known as they would call it the senior salute.
Oh wow. So the
Yeah.
senior boys.
Yeah,
That's dumb.
Wow. That's
That's icky.
I know.
sad.
Were they rich?
Yeah, they're
They're
no
boarding
wonder.
schools. Yeah.
Wonder
They're boarding schools.
They got away with it.
Well, the guy is backed. The main guy is backed by a lot of schools. That's the scary part.
Yeah, they're all
Is
pretty
that
much.
he started off as a like a dorm, I guess, manager. I don't know what they called him.
Headmaster?
A headmaster.
No,
Not a
He was
headmaster.
like the dorm, like the
Uh,
the dorm mom. I think we called it with the lady.
Yeah.
He was the guy. He's the same position, but he was a guy.
So in college, there's always like a person that's in charge of the dorms and the rules and make sure everybody's doing curfew. And if they break curfew, he brings them up. Or if they have any hey, my neighbor's being too loud at this time, he either opens an investigation or he writes in
Like a ticket.
like a ticket, pretty much, and he brings it up to his boss. So that's what he was. But the school, he was in charge, I guess, of the female dorms, or not in charge. Yeah, I think it was co-ed.
Dorm.
But
that sucks.
the fact that he's a young 20-year-old guy around 16, 17,
Teenage girls.
18-year age girls, and they well, according to the book, he's an attractive guy.
Right.
There's no,
Not ugly.
it's not like a comic book where we got to see pictures or anything. But you know, like, that's kind of scary to see what his true tally is, because you know how it is. Like, one person can be brave enough to say something, but doesn't mean
All of them.
all of them are gonna be able to do it.
Yeah.
You know, so
Especially when the adults are failing to do it, they just ignore it, or
and I think that's one of the problems that boarding schools have, is that the parents kind of send you there when you kind of give up. Well, not give up, but when you're in a very fast-paced world where you can't really schedule your times in and out of work,
Right.
or you're constantly going on business trips, so you kind of you trust your kid to have that liberty, but also, how does a staff of a school truly look over
That many kids.
like say 1,000 kids?
Yeah.
Like you guys, we all went to high school. We all know the boarding school is not any different. It's maybe, 500-600 kids less.
Yeah.
But it's the same staff. Like,
I was telling them that my PE teacher slept with one of the girls in the school. She was a senior.
yeah, Paris High School or my high school, sorry.
I went to Paris Heights.
Yeah, there was a lot of rumors. Who knows if it was true or not? But there was multiple teachers. But
even in like the school environment from Heritage, when I went, and Paris when you guys were in school, there was very different. Heritage had gotten supposedly all the good teachers from the district because it was barely its second year open.
yeah, but that's how any school is. Any brand new school is always the best of the best. They're always fully staffed. They're always there's always eyes everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's when people start looking at different jobs, or like, teachers unfortunately are still in need, and because of how, look at, you're going to class with 30 plus kids.
Yeah.
We have like charter schools that have, their graduating classes are 200-300 people.
That's crazy. Because this
And you go to a public, well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So you go to a public school. So Paris High School, as a freshman class, you're starting with 2,500 students, a freshman class.
Wow.
And this is not just Paris, but like just public high schools in general, due to everything that goes on in life. People make bad decisions, whether it's drugs, gang life, or some of them are just they're not cut out for school, and they kind of just give up. So they told us, that was one of the craziest facts that stuck with me going to school, is that you start off with 2,500 freshmen, and by the time we graduate, we'll be lucky if we have even half of that.
Wow.
So they said every year we lose about 15% of our student body, just due to lack of trying, or lack of just there's kids that need special attention in high school, or like just need that extra attention from a teacher, and they just said, I'm not getting it here, and I'm just not gonna try. So as a student, you kind of feel safe, or you would want to feel safe. You're supposed to feel safe. And for, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy how people like that know how to manipulate the people that are around them.
Yeah.
Like, this girl, Lucy, like, literally dropped everything in her life for this guy.
Yeah.
And she only knew him from a pub. Like, ooh, that's gonna be my husband. Like, dude, like, do you understand how much, like, confidence and you need to learn how to talk to a person, how to make them feel comfortable. Like I said, you're manipulating them to see what you want them to see. Like, when you're dating a person, it's a whole different story from when you're getting married.
Right.
Or when you're living with somebody. A date, like, you know what I mean? You date, you go on a date, and then say you guys aren't living together, you guys go part ways. You know what I mean? There's a whole other world, say, when you're living together, where, let's go on a date. Okay, well, where are we gonna go?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That week, like, what's gonna make it more exciting for us to make sure we get out of here and still be happy when we get home? and still continuously see each other.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
that's where that's why they say it's like moving in is a big step, because now you're truly figuring out what you're seeing
Yeah.
with that person. So, like, for him to be able to manipulate and to hide it from her this whole time, that's the crazy part.
Yeah. For that many years.
And you know what I mean? Like, for her not to think any of it, or to think like that's kind of weird, but nah, he would never.
Right. Yeah, because that's ultimately what the book is, huh? It's like it's her struggle with trying to figure out, do I believe this? How much of this do I believe?
Yeah.
And like, what did I miss? And I like that she goes through that. Like, okay, what did I not see? What did I choose to ignore that was right in front of my face? Because she talks about it. She talks about her having lunch with them in the cafeteria,
Yeah.
and these girls literally like fighting over each other to sit next to him.
Yeah.
And she's like, why did I just brush that off? Like, why? What? And it's sad that, you know, she went through that point of questioning even herself. And it wasn't even her fault, you know?
Yeah.
Like, she didn't make him do the things that he did. But she definitely went through that process.
I'm going to say a quick summary of the book just for the people that haven't read it. It's about...
Why did you stare at me?
This can't be part of a book club if you
I
don't
read
the book.
2 chapters. I had a lot of things going on.
Go ahead, Maria.
Keep going.
The main character is Lucy. She's a mom of 2. She's married to a headmaster of a boarding school in New England. And then one day she gets a visit from the FBI and finds out that her husband is under investigation for sexually assaulting multiple students when he was a teacher at another boarding school. So that's pretty much, I know you guys read it. You guys know what it's about for the people that are...
I was just going to throw out the Gilmore Girls thing. Headmaster Charles. If you watch Gilmore Girls.
So overall, what did you rate the book, Juan?
Rating the book itself it's very compelling. You know, it brings you in. It's just that ending. It leaves you wanting a little bit more, but you're also disappointed because you're like, how far can he really go if he wanted to turn this into a series?
Right.
You know, but there is, you know what I mean? Since he's writing the book in the point of view of Lucy, I do understand, like, she's trying to cut ties the whole time towards the end, like get out of my life, like I don't care what you do, you know what I mean? Like, so to the way the book ends is a little disappointing, but you know, it's
because it's based on a true story, so...
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So he technically can keep going, but it would have to change the point of view of what happens. But since Maria did the research that a lot of these guys didn't end up getting...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Put in front of a...
Unfortunately,
Yeah, unfortunately, they got away with what they did. It sucks that, you know what I mean? Now I know that there's no second book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, unless somehow or some way he ends up finding this guy and willing to, like, hey, would you be willing to give me your point of view throughout this whole process? Then that would be a cool twist. But as far as a rating, I'd probably give it like a 6 out of 10.
It's because it's like a serious book. It's not...
Yeah, it's kind of hard to joke around about something that unfortunately happens a lot nowadays.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know, like, respect for women has really gone out the window. But I think it's because, like, well, what he did is just, I don't know, it's just, you're just one twisted guy, you know what I mean? To take advantage and manipulate people like that. But there's guys out there that will do it to anybody and anything, you know what I mean? Like, it's not just, I don't know, it's not just underage, but, like, you know what I mean?
No, it was hard because how do you rate something based on a true story and like somebody's experience? You know, it's...
Well, you rate it by the way it's written.
Like, but understand he's also like an up and coming author, so it's good to give him like, okay, where can you? Yeah, right. Is this on? No.
Don't worry, your points were pointless.
Shut up, what?
Ooh.
Oh yeah, I'm so mad because I don't even know what I was saying anymore.
Let's just not... Don't ask me about the rating then.
You're funny.
See, but it's true because, like, if he's an up-and-comer, like I said, the book draws you in.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes you want to keep reading because you want to see how she deals with everything.
Right.
And, like, reading it as in my point of view, coming as the man, like, if I saw my significant other doing or even thinking about doing something like that, it'd be really hard for me to, like, you know what I mean? Because you really do, like, she gave 20 years of her life to
30.
this. Well, she was married to him for 20, right?
No, 30 years.
30 years.
The factual, well, the person that it's based on.
Okay, so
I believe they were married for 20 years.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, try to up and move after all that. Like, I understand. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, what they did is horrible. It's horrendous. Like I said, you got to be one twisted person to think and to be able to live with yourself and to be able to live a life for that long.
Right.
But as that significant other, how do you
cope with it?
exactly how do you, like, obviously she just snapped, like when she really got her eyes opened, and it's crazy that her friend warned her about it from the get-go. Like, she cut ties with that friend because of him.
Yeah.
And, like, she knew all along. Like, obviously she's a good, you know what I mean, a good
friend,
a good friend, a good people reader.
Yeah. Well, she's
Like,
a
to
psychiatrist.
to get a vibe off of somebody like that. But that's the crazy part. I'm telling you, for him to be able to manipulate
everybody around,
anybody around him, a psychiatrist won't catch that quick. A lot of them won't catch it that quick.
I don't know, because, like, did you see the part where Tara, so his ex-wife, so he was married prior to her.
Yeah, doesn't it remind you of My Dark Vanessa?
Yes, and I was gonna bring that up too. It was nice. So My Dark Vanessa is about the girl. Like, say we were following Brianna's story, okay? Which is the girl who first came forward. Okay, that's what My Dark Vanessa is about. It's her point of view of how everything happened. But the guy, he didn't have a spouse, so it was literally just him.
Okay.
So it was different. Yeah, so it was a little different, but it was really not nice, but it was definitely a different outlook. Like, yeah, like how it affects the people around them completely. Like, it completely destroyed her life in that aspect. And her still trying to keep an image of something, you know, that's their dad, like her kid's father, like that part. And they're girls, like they're going into their teens. Like, it's not like they're little. They're going into high school.
They're about to go to that school.
Yeah.
And how do you see? And so then, how do you cope with that decision? Do you still send her to a school like that, knowing that there's multiple, not just her husband, but multiple men,
and
or multiple
schools.
staff and multiple schools going into it? She's all like, "Oh, well, it's just my school." No, and then she heard it was 67 other schools
that they were investigating.
So how do you, as a parent, knowing what you know?
I know. I was like, Jenna's gonna be mad at me, but look at my poor book. Like,
knowing what you know, how do you decide to say yeah?
Yeah.
Like, and then the worst part is that the girls, that's kind of their dream school. Like, that's what where they've wanted to go.
Yeah.
That's what they know. That's what they're used to. They lived on campus.
Oh, you're talking about his daughters?
Yes. Yeah. So how do you how as a parent do you tell your daughter, or you know what I mean, your son, that hey, you're not going to that school?
Yeah, because your dad was a socio.
Yeah, exactly. For real, it's the truth though. Like, and then how do you have that talk with your
child,
with your children?
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, your dad's no longer gonna live here because this happened, or because that happened. You know what I mean? Like, he like, and it's not like he said, not just students, but his secretary.
Oh yeah, that was a whole that was.
You know what I mean?
What?
Like,
oh yeah, then he was cheating on her with his secretary.
It's always the secretary.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. He was manipulating everybody. Like, he just had blinds over everybody's eyes. Hey, I'm this great guy. I can, you know what I mean? I'm going to be your friend. I'm going to take care of you. I have your best interest in mind.
So basically he's a charmer.
Yes.
So the way Tara says it, I forget. That's why I did this. Okay. She says Samuel has what people call narcissistic personality disorder. He has this thing he can't control, where he is completely unemotional about everything and everyone but himself. Every single action he makes is for the betterment of his life. He will do anything to get what he wants, and most of the time he'll suck the life out of the closest to him to get it.
Ah, sounds like someone I know.
So that's what Tara told
Chewy, run away.
Anonymous Jesus.
It's Anonymous
on the
Jesus.
show.
Oh, anonymous Jesus, sorry. Yeah,
Anonymous bitch.
I don't think people know what Chewy means, so it's all right. Chewy, run away.
But yeah, so like even when she went to go talk to Tara, like that was her final, like that was that final little push that she needed to be like, okay, this is really happening, like this is real. And she didn't even tell her the situation. Tara was just like, this is who he is. You don't even gotta tell me why exactly you're here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you something.
She said
told her
she
that.
actually told her, didn't she say, I know why you're here?
No.
Yeah.
She
Yeah?
said, I don't even know why you're here.
Oh.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I thought it was really cool. She goes, but you're probably now figuring it out.
Ah, slut.
And that's why she left. Oh, but the whole reason I said that was because she says it, that the therapist, they went to couples therapy, and that the therapist right in front of her is who diagnosed. See, I took him to a couples therapist. She diagnosed him on the spot. So that's why I feel like her friend knew. Her friend knew.
Like, it's.
But
I
how
don't
do
know.
you put it nicely to your friend?
Well, it's not just that. It's not even about putting it nicely. How do you tell your friend who most likely is not gonna believe you?
Yeah.
And you're willing to put your friendship to
Yeah.
the test to try to get her to open her eyes.
Yeah.
Like, how many people say, oh, well, they don't want the best for me, so I'm going to cut them out of my life. And that's exactly what happened with
Right.
her and her friend. When she comes to realize, wait, she had my best interest this whole time, and
Right.
look at what I did. I lost one of my
Yeah.
best friends. You don't have a lot of...
to her at the very, very end?
I don't...
Yeah.
She does, huh?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, she tells him, like, hey, like,
I
this is
I
what's
missed
going
the last two
on.
chapters, so I don't know.
this is what's going on. She's like, yeah, I told you. And you said no because of him.
Yeah.
And like she kind of apologizes, right? Like, I'm sorry for not listening to you or something like that, or not
I don't
realizing.
remember exactly, but yeah, they're pretty much friends again.
Yeah. But it's just crazy how there's, I don't know, like how he can I can't even remember a lie that I said yesterday.
That's a lie.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, if I say at work that I'm not gonna come to work tomorrow because of my kids, like, I better have a good story, because I'm not saying that I lie all the time about my kids, because
Right.
I would never put that bad juju on my kids, but you know what I mean? Like, I gotta remember which kid I'm going for.
Yeah, brothers are mean.
No, we're
Let's
not.
turn this into a
No, we're not.
siblings podcast.
Sibling-
How was it growing up with Juan? How
With
was it
Juan?
growing
Well.
up with Angelica?
How was it? How was
Annoying as
I
hell.
have a lot of bruises
We just
from
found
getting
out.
in the way, and it was honestly just from me getting in the
it?
way
Oh,
of them.
getting in the way.
Well, it's because, like, back in the day, we would, you know what I mean? My mom was busy cooking, and the house would get hot when you cook.
So you
Anybody-
would beat her up?
No, so me and my brother would always go outside. Well, since she was younger, my mom would be like, "Oh, your brothers are outside. Go play outside." Well, the dummy that my sister is would just, "Well, I want to play too," and we're just running back and forth on a damn basketball court, and we're like, "Oh, poof! Oh, there's Angelica! Time out! She's crying."
Well, mind you, Juan Manuel is 6 years older than me, and Ricardo's 4 years older than you. So
Yeah.
Ricardo is 10 years older than me. And I remember once you guys were hitting Beto's toys with the
Oh,
bat. They used
yeah,
to hit
that
us
was-
before, and our backyard was a big lot. It was an empty lot. Now there's like stuff there. Well, they were hitting it with the bat, and the poor fucking action figure broke, like completely broke into pieces, and the leg of the toy came and hit me in the leg. So I had the bruise of a leg on my leg
Yeah, that
for
was
a
fun.
while.
No
But
one's
that's
gonna
what
pick
I'm
up
saying.
that.
That was just, it was me getting in the way.
Dude, it's our trauma too.
It wasn't that they were mean. I think I was too little for them to be mean like that, like to pick on me like that.
Yeah, it was just her trying to be around and be outside and be a kid, but you know, like she said, me and Ricardo were kind of 6 years was the closest gap. So you know what I mean? We were already, well, to get a little background, all the Rangels are competitive. So playing around or on a team, we don't like to lose at all. It could be a damn board game. We'll sabotage each other on damn Uno. Like there's no friends. You know what I mean? Like you're not my sister right
It's
now.
bad.
Wow, four.
My
You know
mom,
what I mean?
and my mom is the worst, and she's
Yeah.
she's
And
the
my
worst.
mom is
Yeah.
With
my
Monopoly
Monopoly.
specifically?
We can take my mom on any other board game. Put Monopoly down, and I'll walk away the table. I'm like, game night's over. I'm not playing with my mom.
Like Maria leaves me when we're winning.
Oh yeah.
When my mom sits down, I'm like, I'm just gonna be your partner, mom. I'll roll for you.
I played with Jesus' dad a game. He likes to confuse everybody. I'm like sitting there. I'm like, I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing.
Okay, so I do have the other girls with me. I have Maria and Jenny, and I'm Angie with me as well. They're just a little
Nice to
camera
meet you
shy.
guys.
So, okay. So I want to ask, like, when did you know you wanted to be a writer?
I knew I wanted to be a writer when I was like 18. I actually like didn't really enjoy it that much in school. Before I turned 18, I like didn't like it at all really. I like didn't think I was good at it, like didn't get like a ton of validation in school, but then I always like really loved movies. So I watched this movie called Midnight in Paris, which is like where the main character is a writer. And I remember like finishing the movie and being like, holy shit, like I could do that. And then I just like kind of like started writing and didn't stop.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. Because I saw online that you were a screenwriter, right?
Yep. Yeah. I'm a screenwriter as well.
That's awesome. So did you start like writing books and then becoming a screenwriter, or the other way?
I started writing screenplays first.
Okay.
And then about like 4 years into just like kind of like casually writing screenplays, I decided to like, you know, kick it up a notch and write a book. And and then I just like loved the first experience I had writing a book, and I wanted to do like more.
That's awesome. That's awesome. My biggest question is like, why this story? Why did you feel like you writing this? Not feel like writing the story, but yeah, why this story?
I'd heard from like a family friend of mine. I had heard about this woman, like the protagonist of the book, Lucy. I'd heard about her in real life, and I heard like kind of like the Cliff Notes version of her story, that she had this kind of like seemingly perfect husband who, after 30 years of marriage, turned out to be like not such a great guy. And this was literally like the Cliff Notes version. I didn't know to the extent of whatever. And then I was it was like planting like a seed in my brain. I kind of like just like thought that that kind of like domestic relationship could be kind of like interesting to explore. And then I asked this family friend of mine if I could set up like an introduction with her. And when I met her, she told me like the entire truth. And I was like, oh my God, this is like way more serious than I thought. So then, and then I instantly just decided to write the story and like work with her. And I interviewed her for like 2 months, like basically starting like right then.
Wow, that sounds intense.
Yeah, it was definitely intense. But it was intense, but it was also like definitely, I think, a little therapeutic for her.
Right.
She hadn't really gotten the chance to like talk about it like with too many people.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a good experience.
Do you know if together you guys do like public speaking about it, or like raise awareness in any way about stories like this?
I know that she would love to, but there's also some kind of external factors that like I'm not really at liberty to say, just because like it wasn't in the book or anything. But basically, she's not really at the point in her life where I think she can like comfortably do that. Okay. Even though writing the book was like a huge step, because her intentions genuinely are to like give other women like these kind of warning signs. Right. And and she, that's kind of why she was open to having a book written about her.
That's awesome. That is definitely a big step for some people. I'm glad you were able to do that with her. And you found the interest, because it's definitely a different point of view and just the whole aspect of it all as well in these situations. we recently read a book, My Dark Vanessa. I'm not sure if you've read that book.
I haven't.
But
No.
it's like a storytelling in your book, who would be Brianna. It's telling their point of view in the whole situation and how it had affected them into their. So it was really interesting going into this book, you know, and hearing how it affected the family around
Yeah.
the
Right.
person. Okay. Did you ever attend like a boarding school yourself?
No, I didn't. No, I I went to school in Ireland. Like I live like 10 minutes away from my house. But when I came to college in the US, I just kind of like found myself becoming friends with a lot of people who did go to boarding school.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I heard like a few stories. Like most of them were just kind of like stupid, like
Oh.
stuff. But it kind of gave me access to actually interviewing a lot of like people that didn't have the same experience that that I didn't know about. So
Right.
yeah, so that connection kind of came later.
How long did it take you to write this book? Like, I know you said you interviewed her for 2 months, because it's a great book. Like it's short, but it like you turn those pages quite quickly when you're reading this book, of course.
Yeah, it was the same with writing it, honestly. I wrote it in 2 months. I think I wrote it in like 60 days.
Wow.
Like over the first 2 months where I interviewed her, I did a lot of like note taking and like outlining and stuff like that. So that when I finished interviewing her and I kind of knew the story was ready to be like written, I could literally just sit down and like crank it out. But I was still writing for like 8 hours a day. I think like probably like 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week writing for like 60 days.
Wow. Do you have any other books? I know you have 2 other books out as well, correct?
Yeah, I have 2 other books. I have my second book. I self-published it under the name True West, but it got picked up by like a publishing house.
Okay.
And now we're just like working on like editing it and stuff. It'll be out this summer.
Okay.
And it's probably going to be under a different title. So that's getting just like a complete revamp. It's not like available now. And then my first book, I am in the process of getting it just like professionally re-edited. I was 22 years old. Yeah, I was 22 years old when I first wrote it. It has its flaws.
Okay.
I'll say.
Right. It's a process.
But I just like kind of gave it to like a proofreader that that I've used before, and they'll for like a few $100 or whatever, they'll just like fix all of like my grammatical errors, and then I'll go back into it and rework the story slightly. So I'll re-release that at a certain point. But as of this moment, Death by a Million Papercuts is my only book out.
Gotcha. Do you have anything else in the works, like apart from those?
I don't. I'm kind of in a phase where I am like looking for the ideas. But for like me to want to like write a book, I have to like really become like obsessed with it. Like I have to like think about it like nonstop. And that like with this woman, it was literally like after the first time I met her, I just like couldn't stop thinking about it. So
yeah, it shows in the book.
Thank you.
It definitely shows in the book. You put a lot of effort that way. There was a lot of passion behind what you were writing. What do you want like your readers to get out of the experience with the book?
I think what I would like for people to take away from the book would definitely just kind of be the like normalcy or the normality of like this woman's situation, or how it was like seemingly so at first, but how things kind of like underneath the surface are different. I think that with like especially with like relationships and with people that are in close quarters, it's like kind of easy to like mistake a wolf because like they're wearing like sheep's clothing, like that kind of a thing. And obviously, Samuel in the book was a total sociopath. He's a complete sociopath in real life. Obviously, that's like taken from pure direct influence.
Yeah.
But I think there's like there's tons of people like that out there, and I think whether someone has like malicious intentions or not, I think it's important for someone to kind of like understand those cautionary signs and to kind of like try use it to avoid it in their everyday life, and especially in their relationships, because
Right.
it is like super common. And then on top of that as well, of course, I want to out like these boarding schools. There's like more than one. It's extremely common. The stories I've heard are just like absolutely horrifying.
Oh
And
my
what's
gosh.
craziest and horrifying about it is, it's like these kids are like literally like confined to this campus. Like
Yeah.
they can't really leave. It's it's really fucked up when you think about it. So I think I didn't know anything really about that side of boarding school. I doubt like most people do.
Right.
So I think it's just an interesting thing to put out into the world as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. That it definitely had us researching. We learned a lot about just boarding schools in general, as far as the sexual assault going on and stuff. Um so I thank you for that, because that is definitely it's been a good way for us to be aware. Like, we're all mothers, so we learn, like, we send our kids to boarding schools to be safer, right? Like, it's supposed to be safer, more secure. At least that's the general idea that we have of boarding schools. And then it's like, it's
Mhm.
not always like that either. you
Yeah.
know so but I do definitely enjoy how you had Tara explain who Samuel was, right? Like, the reason to why she left him. I
Right.
truly, I believe you explained that very well, through her. um it was cutthroat, and it's like, yeah, not a lot of people would. Everyone would beat around the bush and make excuses for him, and she didn't. And I think
Yeah.
that was great. And you do see in the way that it affected her as well, like, she stayed alone. Like, she still didn't have a partner. Like, these effects are longer lasting than I think people know.
Right. Yeah.
Does it kind of like take over your life when you're writing?
Yeah. Totally. It consumes like absolutely everything. But I like love it, and I like you know like all my friends and stuff, and like my family, they just like kind of get it. So you know it's actually it's grand. Like it's that's when I'm happiest for sure.
How has that experience been for you, as far as like having to promote yourself and stuff? Because you said the first two you published yourself, right?
Yeah. And it's definitely been different this time. The first two I didn't really like market myself that much.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, I just knew the story was so good, just because it was true as well.
Right.
And I knew I had to like get the word out there and stuff. I still don't do a ton of like self marketing. Like I'll reach out to podcasts and stuff such as yourself, and
Mm-hmm.
and because I think talking about it is important, and I also think that it's the kind of story that like word of mouth will will
Mm-hmm.
will happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a weird experience. Like I don't I was always like a shy teenager, but I definitely think that it's easier to do when the story is so good.
Right, right. Yeah, my brother
Yeah.
found it on my table and he was like, I'm gonna take this book, okay? I was like,
Oh, brilliant.
all right. So it took me a little longer to read because he was reading it, but it's a really good book. Like, the back that definitely hooks you quite quickly. On a personal, what about our podcast had you reach out to us?
So I typically, when I'm reaching out to podcasts, I like to talk about the story with, for lack of a better way to say it, with women, because I find that the target audience for this book is definitely more appealing to women than it is,
Right.
sadly, to men. So I just think that I would have like far better conversations about the topic of the book, because I feel that most women that I know anyway, that I've
Mm-hmm.
spoken to about reading it, have kind of given me like unanimously have said like, oh, like I get it. Like whether it's
Right.
yourself who's been in a relationship like that, or somebody like a girl grown up or something, it's kind of unanimous. So um and then how could I not want to be on the book Sluts? How could I
Uh,
not want to be on this podcast? That is like the best podcast moment ever. I'm sending this, like when you guys release it, I'm sending it to my mom. I'm gonna be like, Mom, like I was on the book Sluts. Like, look, this is where I was like, this is where Death by a Million Papercuts got me.
That's awesome. Yeah, it is definitely an interesting what is it? A conversation starter.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I do not take credit for the name. That was all them here because that's a little out there for me. But so I thank you for reaching out. It was a great book. It definitely will be getting some promotion from us, some more. And thank you for taking the time to write her story. You know, not a lot of men would do it. Like even in the way you said that, you know, reaching out to women is more where you would get more revenue from. But I think, you know, men need to hear this story. They also need to know how it affects their women, you know, their partner as well. Thank you so much for being on here with us.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
We'll be waiting for the next book for sure.
I'll let you guys know.
So this concludes this week's episode. We hope you enjoyed our book talk and that you continue to reach out to us on Instagram at Book Sluts Club or on TikTok at Book Sluts Podcast or even by email officialbookslutsclub@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe here wherever you may be listening to us on, and don't miss a single episode.
Please leave a review or even share our podcast with your fellow book lovers. Until next time, adios, book sluts.